Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. This is your T-shirted historian, and today we're going to be unboxing and taking a look at Letters from the Dark, Volume 4, Borderlands for OSR games and more. This was a Electrum bestseller on DTRPG. It's from Chris Powell. This is a product I've never seen before, but I'm very curious about it because one of the things it involves is hirelings, keep building, and West Marches style gameplay, as well as some new dungeons. So I'm kind of excited about this. But why don't we have a look at it, shall we? So, gotta make it a proper unboxing and tear this critter open. Alright. Still got enough strength left in my fingers to rip these open. Alright. There's a packing slip. We don't need that. Don't stick to that. Thank you. So here it is. As you can see, it's compact format. It's a zine. So the back cover says, "Get back to basics. Where the realms of law and chaos collide lie the Borderlands, war-torn wilds yearning to be explored and settled. Your adventuring party has been hired to clear out a Borderlands keep infested with monsters, and once empty, it falls upon you to rebuild the keep and explore the surrounding area. This third-party supplement for Shadowdark RPG." That's interesting. Here it says it's Shadowdark. Originally it said OSR. Is especially designed for new players and new GMs. It includes Darien Keep, a randomized first-level dungeon that plays out differently every single time. The Borderlands, a wilderness region for the players to explore and plunder. Caverns of Chaos, Caves of Chaos, a multi-faction dungeon filled with rival forces of chaos. Hirelings and mercenary rules for hiring NPCs as allies, keep building, spending gold to improve the party's home base, and West Marches, advice on running an episodic open table game using Shadowdark rules. And yeah, it does have the design for use with Shadowdark RPG. Now, since Shadowdark is kind of like designed to be the bridge between 5th edition and OSR, honestly, I think Shadowdark kind of plays a little bit more like OSR. So in that sense, I suppose this could be an old school revival product. If the stats and everything are as they say, then you should be able to use this with old school essentials, BX, Axe, Worlds Without Number, anything that you like that is OSR driven. So it says, design and writing Chris Powell, introduction by Rex Dangerous, West Marches original concept by Ben Robbins at lamemage.com. I've never played a West Marches style game, and I think that would be kind of fun sometime. We have artwork here. Here we have the foreword. Our table of contents with a little bit of artwork. Already, I have to say, I really like the style of it. I also appreciate the thickness of it. This was not a horribly expensive product, from what I remember. I think it's $7.99 for the PDF. The PDF with the softcover book at this time, right now, as of the time of this video, is $11.06. So for, the price of a meal, you could basically get this book. Which ain't bad. Let's keep going. Got some really nice artwork, some new rules, new options for adventures in Borderlands. And I see that they use the same format that they used in the Shadowdark game. This is the section on hirelings, giving you their morals and their traits. Here's your mercenary rules. This is almost big enough to include the whole thing on camera, but not quite. Betrayal and abandonment. Merc stats for your class. Ancestry spells, everything. Real nice. And some key stat blocks already. Wouldn't be too difficult to work this into an OSR game. So, some sample mercs. I'm not sure about this artwork. It looks a little... I don't know. Just not my flavor, I guess. But it's serviceable. And the stat blocks, as you can see, they go up. Here's the actual keep. This gives you the reason to build a keep, how to start it, what the stats are, all the important things for what goes into a keep, including having some of these extra benefits like guard stations and ballistae in bedrooms. This is pretty cool. Game mastery tips for running adventures in the Borderlands. So, yeah, it says here, not colonizers. GM philosophy for law and chaos and wilderness. Here is all the West Marches stuff that you need. I like this. It's pretty informative, but this is probably the part I was really interested in, was the actual introductory adventure, and this is for first levels. So let's see how they laid this out. Okay, so we have an overview, and we have a hex map, an unfilled hex map, so presumably, I guess you could fill in the locations. It's got a number grid here, as you can see, so it wouldn't be too hard to make your own little mini map of encounters per hex. I don't know if it says what size the hexes are. I'm assuming they do somewhere. Let's see, 1 hex equals 6 miles. Okay, so it's a 6-mile hex. Standard. Okay, so they can include a lot of stuff on these hexes, because, 6 miles in ancient world terms is a lot. There's a lot of stuff in a 6-mile hex. A lot more than people think. And I've said this many, many times on my channel. But, this whole idea that villages and, settlements were spread really, really far apart where it would take days to get from one place to another, that is kind of I think that's a product of a car-driven society that we all live in right now, because in ancient times, settlements tended to be within walking distance of each other. Not usually more than a mile or a couple of miles apart. It's not just for convenience, but it's like for safety and for other reasons, marketability, stuff like that. So within a 6-mile hex, you could have a whole bunch of stuff, like several small hamlets or a village or two and ruins, lairs, all kinds of stuff. So never overlook the fact that getting to some place, you have to cross several hexes, which means many miles, which also means lots of adventure just getting to the keep itself. Here's Darlan Keep. We have our scroll that introduces the party to it. Here's the summary. Here's some randomization. And this is part of what keeps it fresh. Because, whatever's in it is randomized. And this is kind of a useful table anyway, because let's say you want to have like some small critter settlements or encampments and stuff like that. You could kind of use this table and set them up all along the way in the hexes that the players will have to cross before they even get to the keep. So, example, let's say in one of the hexes, you roll up bugbears. Okay? Well, what are the bugbears doing way out there? Well, maybe they are outcasts from the bugbears that were inside the keep. Or maybe they are on their way to raid the keep. Or maybe they were on the way to join whoever is in the keep. You see what I'm saying? These things present lots of possibilities, and a GM with a little bit of imagination can rework these tables for his own purposes to make a very cool adventure that will challenge your first level players. Obviously, you want to be kind of careful about throwing first level players up against a Manicore, because Manicore is like a no-joke monster, mainly because they fly. So that means unless your character's brought ranged weaponry along, a Manicore can be a pretty tough encounter for first levels. Now, if it's trapped underground, it's not so bad. But yeah, a Manicore catching your party out in the open and your party's a bunch of first levels, yeah, you might lose a few characters on that one. Just a little advice there. Okay, so gives you the construction, the roster. Yeah, they do not replenish and can be wiped out. So yeah, once you clear out the stuff out of the keep, you can take the keep over. That's a kind of an important detail. Especially if you are playing something like 1-to-1 time, where, stuff can move in whenever you're not adventuring in the area. But it actually has some keyed areas on there. It's got random encounter tables. It's got some tips. Then we have the actual layouts. Got some treasure hoards. Enemy camps, and then this is all random, or it's keyed, I should say. Player handout. And then here's the actual Caverns of Chaos. Yeah, this is all kind of a play on Keep on the Borderlands, straight down to the same almost color of magenta as the original adventure. So I appreciate that. That's pretty cool. And yeah, as you can see, these Caverns of Chaos can be inhabited by quite a number of different things. And it's kind of funny, the layout actually looks very similar to the old the old Caves of Chaos. I like that, though. Something like this is pretty cool. Even though it says it's for first-level adventurers, it's pretty obvious that this is meant to be the basis for either a full-term campaign or, at the very least, a first to mid-level campaign where your objective will be to come clean out the keep, take it over for yourself, and start running it, and then slowly moving to the caverns of Chaos and dealing with the other threats there. Which ain't a bad idea. And I like that it has a lot of different creatures through all the different systems. So it gives your characters a lot of exposure to lots of different types of monsters. This one having ghasts and ghouls, those can be really deadly against low-level parties, especially if you're using BX. Ooh, boy. But at least they're not using whites, because whites are kind of a death stick against BX characters. We have cultists and a really good-looking picture of a shadow demon, it looks like. And they could actually have devils that are pulled up through these rituals. I guess if you wait long enough and they get enough sacrifices, you could be dealing with an archdevil itself, which that's a big deal. You don't want a low-level party facing off with an archdevil. All right, there we go. Here's something from Letters from the Dark, Volume 5. Now, I have not seen the other Letters from the Dark, 1 through 3. I will have to check those out. I mainly just got interested in this one because it sounded interesting, because it's a first-level adventure. It had a keep, and it also had, West Marches style play, and it had a dungeon and everything else. In other words, this kind of has everything that somebody who is first starting out playing OSE or Shadowdark or any OSR compatible game. This has just about everything you need to get that game started and get a decent little starting campaign going, which could lead to something bigger and better. I don't know. I look at stuff like this, and I think that it has a lot of possibilities. So I think it's actually pretty cool and pretty well designed. I like it. I'm definitely going to have to investigate some more of these to see if they have print-on-demand copies and what they involve. Because I like small stuff like this. And this is a small publisher, so I definitely want to support the small publishers. But anyway, that looks like that's about it for Letters from the Dark Volume 4 Borderlands. Hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you'll consider picking this up if you have an OSR game, or especially if you have a Shadowdark game. And do catch me on The Week in Geek. But until then, y'all take care.